Hello and welcome to the transcription explanation of this design. It is another rendition of Never Cruel or Cowardly, Never Give Up, Never Give In, and it's designed to be from like the center of the back going up towards the right shoulder, so that's why it's at kind of an angle like that to kind of follow the trap muscles there. With that being said, let's talk a little bit about what can be adjusted in this design and still keep it translatable. So this design has a start marker, that's this little shape here, and that shape tells you where to start reading. So it's okay if you have it adjusted, rotated like this, or like this, because that little marker will tell you where to start reading, so long as, you mentally arrange it, so that way this start marker is at the bottom of our first letter of our first word. We know where the bottom is and which direction counterclockwise is. And then these circles inside are the letters in the words, and we have a word here, word, 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 word. So never cruel or cowardly, never give up, never give in. I did add a couple of thicker circles here just to kind of help visually break up the design, because it was a lot of samey circles without much depth, I thought, without adding these thicker lines. You don't need to add them, they don't affect the translation, they can just be the same thickness as everything else, so long as they still exist. So let's go ahead and read the letters. So here's our first word circle, bottom of it's here, our first letter is this one. In the grid above me, there are different rows and there are different columns, and the rows are made by the letter stems. There's 4 kinds of letter stems because there's 4 rows, and in the top row we have deep divots. Those deep divots are things like this one here, that's like a horseshoe or an omega, or like this one here, or this one here. And then there is a full circle floating inside our word circle. So here's our word circle. This is one of the ones in the second row. So are these guys. Here's another floating, 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 floating. And then there are shallow divots. These 50% or less chunks, like a bite taken out of a circle, are in the third row, and they're different from the deep divot. So here's a deep divot and then a shallow divot, are less than 50% of the circle, while the deep divots are more than 50% of the circle. So yeah, and then the bottom row are circles that cross the line of our word circle, and we only have one of those in this design. So here's a word circle here, and this is the only consonant that crosses a word circle. There are other lines that consonants cross, and that's okay, that doesn't matter so long as it's the word circle. And then the columns are made by different dots and lines, or nothing. If they have nothing, they're in the first row. But if it has dots, then be something like one of these with these dots by them, and then these lines end on our word circle, on our letter stem, not our word circle. So they count where they end on the letter stem. And this is an example of a curved line. So this line ends here, it curves around, and it ends here, so that counts twice because it ends in 2 places. Here's another little curvy line that starts there and it ends there. So yeah, let's go ahead. Oh yeah, vowels. Vowels are these little circles, and they have different positions depending on what letter they are and if they're attached to consonants. So an E is centered, so it's centered inside the consonant, or it's centered on the line of our word circle. An O is internal, so it's inside, attached on the vowel, not centered. Or it's inside, internal, inside our word circle. An A is external, so here's an A outside our word circle. So here's the line of the word circle, the A is positioned out it. And then a U has a line radiating outwards, so like here's a U right there, there's another U right there, where an I has a line going inwards, so these are both I's. So yeah, here's an N, it's a full circle floating with one line on it, so one line column, floating circle row, and then an E is centered inside it, so NE. This V is a shallow divot with one line, and here's the E centered, and then the R has 3 dots, so there's never. And then we have 1, 2 dots on this K. Now, in the word cruel, it is the letter C, but in the original script, there was no letter C. And for the simplistic sort of a style, I wanted to go back more towards the roots of the script, so we're using the K sound, plus it's a little bit less dots. There's already a whole lot of dots in this design, so I'm just using a K for cruel and K for cowardly, because it goes K, and in the original script there was no dots, no 4-dot letters, and there were no 1-dot letters. So they're all new, the 4 dot and 1 dots. But 1, 2 on the K, 1, 2, 3 on the R, U line going outwards, E centered, L with 3 dots. And I suppose I could shift this dot a tad more over there just to show that this K is just these 2 dots and not those 3 dots. Okay. And then we have the R with 3 dots, U-E-L, so there's cruel. Bottom of this word circles here. Here's a little O inside our word circle and another R. 3 dots just like this. 3 dot here. 1, 2, 3 dots on this R. Just like there's 1, 2, 3 dots on this R. So or, and then 1, 2 dots on this K, just like that. 2 dot K. O, which is internal, so like on the line of the consonant stem. 1, 2 dots on the W, A outside the word circle, R with 3 dots, D with 3 dots, L with 3 dots, and then Y with 2 dots. So there's cowardly. And then this is actually a little period. It's on a sentence circle. If it were an A, this wouldn't be on the line of a sentence circle. So this is a sentence circle going around everything. That's why this isn't a vowel like these other little guys, because it's not on our word circle. So it's not an E because it's not on the line of the word circle. It's not inside the word circle, so it's not an O. And it doesn't have, if it were an A, it wouldn't have these lines on it like that one. Oh, big yawn, sorry. So that's a period, and the period's kind of intended to look like it's between cowardly period, and then we have this word here. It's kind of like the first thing, like an earlier letter, like you would read a period. N, E, V. This is a sneaky E. So this E is enclosed inside this word circle line. So it's easily visually lost, I guess. Maybe I should move it. Maybe I should put it here. No, I like it there. It looks better there. So V with 1 line, E centered, R with 3 dots. There's never. G has 1 line, I has a line going inwards. Lines that pass through, like this one, don't count on what they pass through. They only count where they end on the letter. So this counts on this I, and that counts on that U. So G, I, V with 1 line. Again, this sneaky line, it goes from the G to the V. And then there's the E, so there's give, U, line going outwards, and then this P is sneaky because it has 1, 2 lines ending on it, because this ends both here and there. And here's the period. N with 1 line, E centered, B 1 line, E, R with 3 dots, so never. G with 1 line, I, line going inwards, V with 1 line, and then the E, so never. Give, I, line going inwards, and then N with 1 line, and then a period. So yeah, that is fact design. I hope you like it.